everyone, this is Coleman here, and I will be showing you today all of the things that Redstone can do, and I'll be explaining little bits and pieces of it here and there. So to start, you have this simple redstone line with the lever, the piece of redstone, and the lantern. Just turn on the lever, the redstone powers, and then the lantern powers. Very easy stuff. Now you can power this block with any lever on any side of the block, and you can turn on this redstone, which will power anything around it, including this lantern here, or lamp. So if you power this, that turns on, power this, it turns on, this it turns on, and this turns it on. With redstone you can also do things like this, where you have this lever here, which is 2 blocks away from this lamp. Gosh, gotta get this right. And so you can power it from far away, which is cool. Basically what this is doing is this lever is powering this block, which is in turn powering this redstone, which goes over here, powers this block, and in turn powers this lamp. So it's actually very, very simple, and you can do things like that. Now, to see what a redstone line by itself can power, of course, it's on solid blocks, of course. So if you hit this, well, anything beside the redstone doesn't get powered, but the redstone is this redstone right here is powering this block underneath it, which is then powering this lantern right here. But as you can see, this redstone is not touching this lamp at all, so it's not powering that. But the redstone right here is running straight into that lamp right there. Sorry, running straight into that lamp right there, which then gets powered. But nothing is touching this block, which the redstone is also powering, is not touching this lamp right here, so that's not getting powered. But if you have this piston right underneath this, like a block underneath this redstone line, it gets powered no matter what you do. Or, well, it doesn't get powered, but it gets powered through an update. So basically it's still powered even though there's no redstone on, but if you update it by putting a block next to it, then it is realized that it's turned off and will pull backwards. Now if you turn it back on, it is being powered, but it doesn't know it until you update it, and then it is being powered. So with this, you can do some door placements by just having the redstone above the top one, and then you can have a piston door like that, because it's self-updating and powering and stuff, which is cool. And then in terms of how far redstone can go, that it's the length is 15 blocks, or 15 redstone pieces of dust to power that lamp. And now you can go further than that. As you can see, the redstone goes all the way up to there, and the redstone power goes all the way out to this lamp. But if you put this lamp 1 block out further and then put a piece of redstone there, as you can see, the lamp is not getting powered by the redstone. Now you can change this by getting a redstone repeater, and just putting it at the end of the redstone blocks, and then you can go for another 15 redstone pieces of dust and power another lamp. Although this does give it some delay, which is unfortunate. Also, in the new 1.16 update, I found this, which is, it's manipulatable redstone, basically. So basically, if you right-click this redstone cross, then it turns into a redstone dot and doesn't power anything around it, but it still powers the block underneath it. And I can show you this with just a lamp. As you can see, if I turn it into just to a dot of redstone, then it powers whatever's underneath it, but not what's around it, which is actually really useful in redstone contraptions. And now this is a redstone timer. It's a very simple one. So basically, if I get myself, if I get myself a redstone block and a redstone torch, and then power this like that, just give it a 1 tick, then it gives a redstone signal that's just going around in a circle and over again, which is powering this here. And then this redstone block is a self-powering thing, so basically it just powers this constantly. So yeah. And then this is another way of powering things constantly. You can have a redstone torch. The only problem with the redstone torch is that it doesn't power whatever's underneath it, but it can power it can power whatever's a block, 2 blocks above it. So as you can see, this redstone torch is powering the block above it, which is then powering this lamp here, and it's also powering whatever's next to it, as you can see. A redstone block sort of just does the opposite of a redstone torch. It does power the block above it, but only if it's like that. You can't have the redstone signal of this going through a yarn block, like I did, right, like that. But it does go out to the sides and the bottom and the top and just wherever. So yeah, that's the difference between a redstone block and a redstone torch. And then, like I showed you, the repeaters, this is a repeater, as I showed you before. The lever's powering the block, going through the repeater and then into the lantern. But it does get some delay, as you can see. It's a little bit later. It's a little bit late, and you can slow it down even further by putting it a couple ticks past, and then even slower by putting it one more tick past, and then even slower at this many ticks, which is 4, by the way. So this is 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, and 4 ticks, and that gives it different amounts of delay. Now you can also power pistons like this. I think this is a sticky piston. Yes. So you flip the lever, powers this block, and then powers this piston, and that pushes the block up, and then can pull it back down when it's turned off. Now this, you probably think is like super duper complicated. It's actually very, very simple. So basically it just gives a 1 tick output, which basically, so this is, as you can see, a sticky piston, so it should just push out and then pull back its block. But if it's given a 1 tick pulse, then it'll just push out the block and then pull itself back, but not the block, and it'll just leave the block out here. So basically it'll just push the block out and then pull itself back, but without pulling the block back, because it's just a 1 tick pulse. Now how this works is that when I click this button, it'll send a redstone signal through to this block, and it'll power this block. And so what that will do is it'll send 1 tick through this block and into here, which will power that. And then it'll power this block. So as soon as it sends the redstone signal through here, this block, or this piston, will push the block out of the way and then cut off the signal at 1 tick. So if I click this, a lot just happened right there, but as you can see, this spit out the block, and this redstone torch now powers this block, which powers this redstone. Actually, wait a second. Oh yeah, which then powers this redstone, which powers this block, which powers this lantern, or lamp. Oh my gosh, I gotta get that right. And then if you click it again, the redstone, or the piston sucks back the block, and then the lamp is turned off. Now a much simpler way to do that is just to have something like this, where it's just an observer and a lever and a sticky piston. So what this does is just, you can just suck that back or push it out and get a redstone signal on or off. Now if you want to, you can also do this and then have just that there, and then you can just pull that block back and forth and turn the lamp on and off. That works as well if you don't want to have a moving thing that you want to move. So basically when I push this button, it powers this block, powers this piston, and then pushes this observer out. This observer detects the update and then sends 1 tick into this lamp here, which you can see right there. And then this, you could do the same thing, but yeah, these two are the same thing, but this is vertical, so you can have this completely under the floor, like so. And then there's things like this. This is in the new update, the 1.16 update, where you have target blocks, and target blocks redirect redstone pieces of dust, and so then you don't have to have repeaters going into those blocks, and you can just have it like this, which is very convenient and very small and very nice. And then there's things like this. Oh, here. So for things like this, you would need water bucket and just a normal bucket. And then once you fill this up, then this opens up and you go down to like a secret base or something. I showed this in one of my previous videos. You go check it out. I don't remember what it's called, but it's down there somewhere. And then if you take the water out, then the door closes up, and this is actually really simple. So what's happening here is, I didn't actually explain this in the last one because I didn't have a mic at that point. But when I fill this up, this comparator, it detects whether or not this block, or not this block, but it detects through the block if this cauldron is filled, and if it is filled, it turns on, powers this block, which unpowers this torch, and then this piston retracts this block, and then shows that passed away underneath it. Now if I take everything out, this comparator unpowers, this torch repowers, and then powers this block, and then pushes, and then this piston is pushed outward. And so that's kind of fancy. I like that. And then these are, oh yeah, these are pulse extenders. So basically when I push this button, it'll go through here, and then this will go into this block and power this lamp, and it will also power this redstone, which will go back around, but I don't really know how to explain it. But basically it just like slowly gets like weak, the signal gets weaker and weaker as it goes around in a circle. And you can extend this pulse even further by making a larger circle of comparators. And as you can see, the left one will turn off first, and then the right one, because the right one's pulse is extended further. This is a different kind of pulse extender. I don't think you can extend this any further than this. We might be able to, but just for convenience sake, I'm just going to make it this short. So basically it turns on, but it's also getting powered from 2 different points, which is very convenient. And then this is oh yeah, this is a way of turning things on and off if you have comparators and cauldrons to fill. But you can use this a lot in redstone circuits. This is actually used a lot to power things. So let's talk about slime blocks. Slime blocks stick to each other and to other blocks, and the max push limit for a piston is 12 blocks. So this is 6 slime blocks and then 6 normal blocks or solid blocks. And so you can push that many with a sticky piston. So honey blocks and slime blocks are both sticky blocks, but they don't stick to each other. So you could do things like this. You can slide them past each other, which actually works really well in making like flying machines and doors with oh gosh, why did I do that? With flying machines and flying machines. And then on the subject of flying machines, this is how you can make a super duper small one. Basically just 2 observers on the top layer facing different directions with this set up underneath them. And then once you update one of the observers, well, once you update this observer, it'll travel in that direction. If you update that observer, it'll travel in the opposite direction. It travels across very smoothly. Well, maybe not very smoothly, it's pretty choppy, but you can send it back and forth as long as it stops where the slime block hits the obsidian block. Then it will stop, and then you can send it back like that. Now, if you want to ride one of these, which I actually find very enjoyable, basically you just make the same thing, but you extend it with some honey blocks and slime blocks put next to each other, and then you can just put some trapdoors here and there to make a ride. And then I'll see if I can hit that button, and as you can see, I'm being pushed along with this. It's not a very long trip, obviously, but you know, you can make it much further. Yeah, it can stretch out to infinity because it's just a flying machine. It'll go on until it is stopped, and then you can send it back just like that. Now let's talk about going vertical with redstone lines. You can do that using glass blocks like I've done here, but you can also use it with slabs. So as you can see, that works, and they're all going straight up in that line. And this is actually very useful for if you want to do something straight up without having to go into like a spiral staircase of redstone, you know. And then talking about like piston updates and having the redstone just going on the top, this is actually a really simple way to make a 2x2 piston door and it's flush with the wall as well. So it's like basically it just means that you could have all of this be the same block, and then just have it all be flat, and you wouldn't even know there was a door there until you flip the lever. And as you can see, it opens up just like that, and you have yourself a hidden piston door. Moving on from that, this is a double piston extender, which is also useful in some ways. So if you hit this, then you have that, and it pushes it out twice, pulls it in twice. Although with something like this, if you try and like put a wall here, you kind of can't, because there's just all this junk here, and you don't want that, and you don't want that. And so there are things like this which are really simple. So you just click that and it pushes it out, and then hit it again and it sucks it back in, and that is flush with the wall, as you can see here. So if all this was the same block, then you wouldn't even notice there was a double piston extender there. Now this is the last thing I have for you guys. This is a redstone clock. So basically what it does is it just it has items shifting through these, and then once all the items go into one hopper, then this flips over and all the items start draining into the other hopper. And then so what's happening is, like, this is giving you redstone output when there's items in here, and then that pushes this block over there, but when there's no longer items, it pulls back, and this one pushes forward because all the items are in here now. And so that just shifts back and forth, and you can put as many items as you want in here. Well, you can only put 5 stacks of 64 blocks in here, but you know, I just put 16 in so it was nice and short so I could show you everything. And that is pretty much everything I know about redstone. If you want, well, yeah, go check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and